Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. So my sun tutorial is pretty popular, at least for my channel standards, and one of my viewers requested that I made a moon tutorial, so that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be teaching you guys 3 levels of how to make a moon, so let's get to it. Alright, so level 1 is going to be really simple, nothing crazy at all. So we're going to use some of these circle corner objects here and make a circle with them. And then I'm gonna go and use like some sort of like a tan white, very slightly tan, like that. We're going to add some glow to it, but we don't want to do too much because the moon isn't nearly as bright as the sun. So I'm going to copy the color channel that we're using, make it blending around 0.75 opacity. And then we'll just very slowly scale it up. And we'll make a large one that's low opacity. Right about like that. And then very slightly, sort of like that. I think that's a good color, but we're going to make this a little darker. Then I'm going to use some of these little spot detail objects here, and just to add like a tiny little bit of texture and detail to this moon. So we're going to make it very slightly darker. There we go. So this is level 1. I mean, it's really not anything that great, but if you're using this for like a modern level or like a very simple art level, this would definitely suffice. So now let's move on to level 2. So level 2, we're going to do the same thing with these circular objects. I'm going to make something a little bit more interesting this time. So we're actually going to turn the background to a solid color. If you still want to fade, if you want like the background to still fade, you can use like a scaled up piece of glow that will just like follow the screen. That's what you'll need to do for this one if you're going to do level 2. So we have this circular object, and we're going to now make a second one, and this one is going to be copying the color of the background. We'll turn off the grid as well. And that gives it the appearance of a crescent moon. So then we're going to use this object, and we're going to have it copy the color of the background on like 0.7 opacity, and we'll just warp it a little bit so that we have kind of like this little slight shadow on the moon. Nothing too substantial, but you know, just enough to make it noticeable. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use these. We're going to make a little circle out of these. Kind of like scale half of them up. And we're going to make these very slightly darker once again. And we'll remove the spares. And then we'll add a second layer here. And this one will be lighter instead of darker. So you see we kind of got like a little texture going on here. And then I'm actually going to increase the opacity's drop shadow here. So you might as well just use 4. But then now we just add some glow. I'm going to do it kind of like warped vertically like this. I'm going to make sure that this one doesn't have too much opacity. We don't want to take much attention away from the moon design itself, right? So I think I'm going to make a second color channel so that I can more easily control the opacity of it. So don't really want anything too powerful. We don't want something to like, you know, outshine the texture that we just spent quite a bit of time working on. All right, there we go. So this is a pretty nice design. This is probably the one I'd recommend in most cases, because unless you're going to be doing like a super detailed background, you don't really need to overdo it with the moon, right? Because you don't want to draw attention away from the level, and you don't want the background to be more detailed than the block designs. You want everything to, you know, have a balanced level of detail. So this is what I'd recommend for most cases, like in an art level with a moon. Something like this will be perfectly fine. It'll look pretty good. So, but if you really want to go the extra mile and you want to make something very good, then we're going to do level 3. Alright, so for level 3, we're going to do it's not going to be like hyper realistic, but we're going to do a realistic looking moon. So let's go ahead and start on that. The first thing is we're going to get a new color channel here. In this one, I'm going to put the reference image I'm using on the screen so you can tell what I'm going for here. But we're kind of going for, you know, something a little bit more. Alright, so to start, we're going to do the same thing we did last time with these objects right here. We're going to have them in a larger ring. Okay, so we've got like this sort of texturing here, and we'll just scale this down to fit the moon. I'm probably going to scale it up a little bit so that it's a little bit like larger, and then we're going to do a second layer that will be lighter. In the center, we're going to put something like this. And then around the edge, we're going to put a shadow, I guess, is what you could call this. Yeah, there we go. And then, okay, so now we're going to add in the craters. And this is a little bit annoying, but nothing too bad. So I'm probably just going to do a time lapse of this part, sort of like something a little bit darker, a tiny bit of saturation. Okay, so I've got all my craters laid out, and now we're going to add some texturing on top of these to kind of blend them a little bit more into the moon, because they kind of are sticking out a little bit. And then we're just going to very slightly adjust the colors on these craters as well, to kind of like vary up the brightness a little bit. And then we're actually going to scale these up, and instead of what we had before, we're going to use these. There we go, that makes it look a lot better. And then we'll just add some glow now. We don't want like barely any brightness on this, because we don't want the glow to overshadow the detailing that we've done. Okay, so this is pretty solid. I'm pretty happy with all three of these. I'm sure you could even do even more detail if you want, but this is pretty solid. Like, this is the most I would personally ever do for a moon. But yeah, so that's my moon tutorial. We got level 1 here. Really basic, nothing special. Level 2 is what I'd recommend doing, and then level 3 if you want to go a little extra harder. This is definitely a good one to do. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and bye.